we've tested it in the margins. We put a bit in the margins, and it was so heavy, the ground bait. It went bang to the bottom, and it opened up really fast.
Really fast. So that mix is quite dry. So again, exactly what I'm hoping for is that bait's going to come and open up really fast, and I think that's going to do that, Rob. Now, this is the really interesting part for me. I can't tell you what we're going to catch today. It could be roach, dace. That's the main species.
Yeah.
We could get a bonus perch. We could get anything, Rob.
Yeah,
we could get a chub.
full of fish. It could be anything.
It's full of fish, right? So what we've got to do is cover our options. I always like to start my session. I'll never forget one of the most interesting sessions I had, you know. I went to a really shallow bit at Caythorpe once, and I balled it in just like that, and I was running my rig through and I caught these little dace. Then out of nowhere, I caught a bream, and I actually ended up catching 5 or 6 bream running my rig through, and it was like 6 foot deep. So you never really know. So what I'm gonna start with today, I always like I actually like 3 major rigs on a river, okay? I call it the runner, the easer, and the ligger. Okay, now it's so fast out there today, the ligger's out of the question.
Yeah, you're not going to hold anything.
Because if I wanted to hold, I'd need 15, 20 gram, and that's too heavy. I would miss too many bites. So what I've got instead, all right, is I've got 2 rigs. One that's going to run almost at the pace of the river, and one that's going to go through that little bit steadier, that little bit easier. This is the 3 grammer, right? I'm going to put that down. That's the slightly lollipop float. We'll come back to that later. I always like to start, Rob, on the full pacer, right? I always believe that the fish are in a chasing mood when you start, and you can explore.
Yeah, not quite settled down yet on that bed of feed.
No, you can
they've come to the attraction. There might be a few fish in 2 foot off the bottom.
Yeah.
Chasing little bits that have floated off.
You can explore your peg really fast with this rig. So we're going to get a lot of rundowns really quickly. Now, you'll also notice that I haven't started loose feeding straight away, right? We've just balled it in. I think there's an opportunity when you just ball it in.
Yeah, they're concentrated over that ground bait.
Yeah, let's try and catch 3, 4 fish. This will be a chance of a bonus. If you're going to get a bonus, it can come straight to the balls.
Okay. So what are you starting on there? Single maggot?
2 grammer, single maggot. We'll have a look at the rig once we've caught a few fish. So I'm just going to put my rig in. Again, metre upstream, we're only going to have 5 or 6 rundowns, you know, without loose feeding, and then we're going to start loose feeding, because probably won't even be that many, Rob. I'm aware of the fact that I think there's going to be a lot of fish. Look how fast it's going through.
Yeah.
All right, really fast.
Oh,
it's pacey. It's beautiful. This is 2 gram round body float, which is really, really important. I need stability in my float, okay? And then all I'm trying to do is almost just check it a tiny bit. Can you see that? I don't want it to go through like lightning. I'm just checking it where I think that bait is. Woof. I mean, it's flying under there. There's obviously a lot of chaos, a lot of little fish in the peg. You know, there's going to be some early bites here for definite. That's really good. You can see they come straight to the ground bait. You know, we've been setting up here. There we go. Look, right on my bait, wasn't it, that? Absolutely right on my bait.
That's brilliant, isn't it? Beautiful start, isn't it?
Oh, beautiful. I mean, I'm interested to see what's up. That's a dace, that one.
Yeah, nice.
You know, and
is that the stamp we're fishing for, Lee? They're nice dace.
They're the dream stamp, Rob. You know, like if you're catching that stamp of dace all the time, you're going to catch a big weight. Rob, I'm already, those 3 or 4 quick rundowns there, I'm thinking to myself, there is a lot of fish here, and I don't want them to drift off.
So why not then?
I'm going to start.
Why can't you feed ground bait over the top of? Obviously, the fish came to the ground bait. Why can't we just feed ground bait again?
Brilliant question, right? We could just keep feeding ground bait, but I'm reading the conditions, and my knowledge of a river is it's red hot. The river is the lowest I've known it for a long time, right? Yes, we've got some flow, but actually I want to make sure that the fish are competing for bait. So I'm going to get 2/3 of a pouch full of casters and loose feed them in front of me.
Yeah, we're not being shy.
And I'm going to do 2/3 of a pouch full of hemp just down my peg. That's how I'm going to feed every single run down. Now the thing is that those casters, the pace of this river and how slow casters sink, those casters are going to be about, I don't know, 20 metres down my peg by the time they get to the bottom. Look at the bites, Rob. There's so many fish here, right? The fish are going to be so far down my peg feeding. Look at those little dace. They're eating casters like they're going out of fashion, right? So what's going to be really important to me is I need to keep all these fish occupied, right? I can't afford for these fish to not be occupied by bait. If I wanted to try to feed these casters and get them to land on the bottom in my swim, I'd probably have to feed them about 8 or 9 metres upstream.
Talk to me about that. So obviously, what are those casters doing for you then? What are they achieving?
I'll tell you what they achieve, right? For me, they draw all those little fish and they draw lots of activity into the peg. They also give a bit of a sanctuary down the peg for fish to sit safe, and fish will come upstream to where the bait enters the water, even though they're on the bottom.
I always find that they sit right underneath the bait.
Right underneath the bait. So effectively what I'm doing is I'm giving it 2 options, right? So I'm flicking the rig in upstream, and this all happens very fast, right? I'm getting my 2/3 of a pouch of casters and putting them straight in front of me. Then I'm getting my 2/3 of a pouch of hemp, and I'm feeding that where the ground bait went in down the peg, because the hemp sinks quite fast. And then you see, look at that, a bite straight away. Think how many fish there must be down there right now. Millions, right?
Now, could you, obviously we're starting on this sort of like running rig, it's 2 grams.
Yep.
Standard river rig for fishing on the bottom. Could you envisage these fish coming up in the water on that bait, or are we trying to pin them to the bottom where they're easy to catch?
We're trying desperately to keep them on the bottom because that's where they're easiest to catch. There you go. So that's where they're easiest to catch, all right? On the bottom is where we want to target the fish. And they're a nice stamp. Look at that, another nice stampy dace. When I get into it, I'll swing a few of these, Rob, but just to start with, lovely, lovely stamper dace. Really nice, look, size of my hands, really nice. But these are absolute eating machines, Rob. They are gonna eat bait. I'm gonna be feeding at least 3 pints of casters today, all right? There's gonna be plenty of bait going in all the time. My hook bait for the first few rundowns, you know, has been a single maggot. I'm going to actually put a double on now because I want to try and target these bigger fish.
This early on in the session is prime time for some bigger fish, isn't it?
Yeah. You can see why I wanted to do this video live, like in action, because it all happens so fast.
You've got to be so reactive.
You've got to be on it, like really on it. So I'm going to put this rig in. I want to try and envisage my hook bait staying ahead of my float. All right,
yeah, we'll talk about presentation later. We just want to catch a few fish for everyone at the minute.
Yeah.
And get into the rhythm and showing people how fast everything happens and how instinctive these fish are and how quick they are on the bait, because this isn't set up. We've not come here and pre-baited. We've turned up this morning, put in 8 balls of ground bait, shipped the rig out, and there's a million fish there already. And that's what summer river fishing's about.
Yeah.
And you know, if you're the sort of person that doesn't do this sort of fishing or has shied away from it in the past, you're missing something that's really special. The rivers at the minute, especially the River Trent, are absolutely rammed with fish. There's a lot of sections where you can turn up, park behind your peg. If pole fishing's not for you, you can chuck a feeder out, waggler, stick float. There's loads of different methods you can fish.
Yep.
And you catch loads of fish.